Welcome to the second in a series of videos that will help you transform the COVID crisis from danger into opportunity. In the last video, we understood what creates opportunity, change in your environment. In this video, we'll move to lesson 2, understanding the key driver of change in your environment right now, COVID-19. I'm very lucky because my mother is a very senior scientist who for decades headed research management at Walter Reed Army Institute of Research in Washington. It's the world's leading institute for infectious disease research. So she's an expert on viruses. And I knew nothing about viruses, obviously, a few months ago, but she has educated me. And there are 4 key facts about COVID I think everyone should understand. First, COVID-19 is currently unstoppable. Why? Since it is a new virus, nobody has natural immunity. It's called the novel coronavirus because it's brand new. And because we have no immunity, that is why we have gone into social distancing and basically we're all avoiding each other. Fact 2, because COVID is a virus, there is no cure. Why? Because there has never been a cure found for any virus. Think about the common cold. There's no cure for that. And drugs like remdesivir, which have been so hyped, actually have very limited utility. They only help very sick people to get better. Fact 3, the only way to wipe out viruses is through vaccination. Typically, a vaccine takes an average of 10 years to be developed, and the quickest that any vaccine has ever been developed was 4 years. So the idea that a vaccine will be developed even within 2 years is a wildly best case scenario. It is a very complicated process. And only one virus has ever been wiped out through vaccination. That was smallpox. And that process took 200 years. So we should not expect, as Donald Trump has said, that we're going to have a vaccine by December. This is very unlikely. Fact 4, the only other solution to the pandemic is herd immunity. That's basically when everyone gets the virus, everyone develops immunity to it, so there's no more people to be affected. But herd immunity requires that between 60 and 90% of the population get the virus. Currently, the reported number of cases in the world is only 9 million. Let's say that's undercounted. Let's say it's actually 100 million. That leaves another 7.9 billion people to get the virus, and probably another 5 billion people before we reach herd immunity. So it is far, far away. We've been told to go into lockdown in order to flatten the curve. But flattening the curve may save lives, but it actually greatly prolongs the length of the crisis. Now, how long will it go on for? A study done by the University of Minnesota has estimated that in order to reach a 55% threshold for herd immunity will take until at least July 2022. And it'll go in a series of waves. So we will have periods of social distancing and lockdown, and the virus will go down. Then we'll open up as we're doing now, and it'll spike up again. The real question is, can India flatten the curve without flattening its economy? It's an important question because 41% of India's GDP is generated in red zones. These are typically urban areas like Mumbai and Delhi that are the growth engines of India's economy. And clearly we all know that India's urban areas are not designed for effective social distancing. Therefore, the government is really between a rock and a hard place. It's a very difficult dilemma. And even if India's economy opens up, does it really mean that it's open? If we look at China's example, even though they have opened up, much of the economy is still partially shut down because people are unwilling to venture out and take the chance of mixing with other people. So, for example, discretionary spending by Chinese consumers is still down about 40%. Recently, we heard that Shanghai Disneyland reopened, but it's only running at 30% capacity in order to maintain social distancing. So really, we must ask how many companies can survive at 50% capacity? How many companies can even survive at 85% capacity, given that most Indian companies have margins below 10%? And how many companies can survive repeated lockdowns? Very few. So what is the actual danger from this virus that we must face? Well, we have to be realistic about it. That's very important. And my base case, based on science, not hope, is that the COVID crisis will last for about 2 years. And during that period, we will see massive demand destruction, massive supply disruptions, massively reduced B2B and B2C spending, massive sustained unemployment, massively reduced capex, a massive number of bankruptcies, basically a global balance sheet crisis. And this will be throughout the world. We can assume that the supposed 10% GDP stimulus the government has announced will be inadequate. As it is, it's more like 1%. And there will be widespread bankruptcies. In other words, a global solvency crisis. So that's a rather grim picture, but it doesn't need to be. In the next video, we'll move on to lesson 3. I'll teach you how to not only tap into opportunities to help you survive the pandemic, but also to help you to thrive. So stay subscribed to my YouTube channel and catch up with me on LinkedIn to be notified when the next video is released.